This is my October book reading recap. My October reading recap. Welcome back. I read quite a lot this month, but a lot of it is, I read a lot of middle grade and I read a lot of young adult. But I did read 10 books, even though I have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 books on here. 3 of them are the same. So, we'll go through them. But here's all of them. And we'll just go top down for fun. So I read The Spoon River Anthology by Edgar Lee Masters. This book I've had since my freshman year of college because my theater department did the Spoon River Project, the play that's adapted from this anthology. And one of the cast members gave us all copies of the Spoon River Anthology because he works at a bookstore. So I have this, and this has been on my shelf for a long time, and I've never read it. It's an anthology, so it's just a book full of epitaphs with an introduction and like an afterword. It was pretty quick. It's really fun in the way that it's dead people like telling their story in this small town of Spoon River. Edgar Lee Masters is actually from the area in Illinois around where my college is located. And he like went to a bunch of cemeteries around that area and got like names and stories for this book, including some of the cemeteries in my area of my college, and like the actual river that's named Spoon River is near where I went to college. So it's kind of a fun thing like that. It was a little bit of like a spooky vibe for spooky season. It wasn't super spooky, but it's just in the way that it's a book full of epitaphs. And it's kind of fun because you're like piecing together the town and like the relationships with the people in the town. So it's kind of fun, but it is a quick-ish read. It didn't take me that long because I was reading like you can read a lot of the epitaphs because they're quick. The parts that took me the longest were the introduction and the afterword, but not too bad. But that's the Spoon River Anthology. Also, like one of the smallest like books on my shelf of like height wise, so I'm kind of happy to have it off of my shelf now. I did get a lot of like the small books off of my shelf in this month, which is kind of nice because they were just like taking up space even though they were quick reads. So I got rid of a lot of my quick reads. And 2 of those quick reads are books 2 and 3 of the Spiderwick Chronicles. I have book 1 and I've read book 1. These are like nostalgia reads for me. So book 2 is The Seeing Stone, and book 3 is Lucinda's Secret. I read them when I was a kid. I think I only ever got up to the second one when I was a kid. There's 5 in the original series, and then Holly Black went on to write more. But again, these are very quick reads, and they're very fun, and they are a little spooky, just because it's a lot of like mystical creatures moments, which is quite fun, and it's a little bit of a mystery of what does all of this mean? What does the book mean, and all of the things. But again, they take like I read these in maybe 3 hours. and it's only because I was taking little breaks in between them, but they're very, very quick reads. And they were fun. And it was nice to, like, jump back into my youth in my childhood of reading the Spiderwick Chronicles. So hopefully I get the other two, because I would like to finish the original series at least of the original 5 books. Maybe I go on to the other ones that were written after that, but I have the first 3, and now I've read them all, so that's kind of nice. And then I am continuing on. I have the full Wrinkle in Time series. I'm just getting through them slowly, but I finished the second book, A Wind in the Door. This one is fun. I think I love the first one because it's nostalgia for me, because I read it in the 7th grade for the first time, and I'd never have continued the series because I only read the first one. So I didn't really know what to expect. This one is very much, it's the same vibe, obviously. It's like science fiction, middle grade science fiction. I love the first one because it is so nostalgic for me. And I remember, like, reading the book for the first time. I remember watching the original movie. So I didn't really know what to expect with this one. It's definitely very Charles Wallace heavy, which I enjoy. And Meg is a part of it. It just, it jumps straight in, like, very early on to the action, which I enjoy, because, like, A Wrinkle in Time, the first, like, 2 chapters are a lot of world building, even though you're getting introduced to some of the misses, like Mrs. Who and Mrs. Which and Mrs. What's-It. But they're long chapters, so it's, like, hard. It was hard to get back into A Wrinkle in Time just because those first couple chapters are very long and very, like, world buildy, versus this one, you've already been introduced, you're already in the world. And it's a completely new set of circumstances. Like, we're no longer with the Who's or with the Mrs. W's, but we're, like, jumping into things. It's also very, it's very science fiction heavy in this one versus the other one. Like, the first, A Wrinkle in Time, is science fiction, but it also feels a little dystopia-ish. Like, it feels a little dystopian, especially when they get to the planet. So it's kind of like the science fiction, to me, mixed with dystopian a little bit. This is very science fiction-y. Because they go into Charles Wallace. So it's also giving Magic School Bus. It's a lot, but it's interesting. It's fun. Parts of it are a little spooky, I won't lie. Like, parts of the way that it was written, I was like, that's a little scary. But it's good. I don't know if I like it more than the first one. I'm excited to continue the series. There's 3 more books in this series. And again, they're quick. They're middle grade, so not super bad. This book I finished. So I started it in September, and I finished it in October. But it's Red, White, and Royal Blue. I had the best time reading this book. I've seen the movie like 10 times. I love the movie. I absolutely adore the movie. I'm so excited for the second one. And I obviously knew that the book and the movie, there are major differences between the book and the movie. And I am kind of glad that I watched the movie first before reading the book, which usually never happens. Usually you want to read the book before you watch the movie. But I kind of liked having my love for the movie, like, drive me when it comes to reading the book. I really enjoyed it. It made me laugh out loud at certain points. I was like, okay, this is the pining and the love is so strong. This is a favorite read of the month. Like half September, half October. It is so much fun. It is so much fun. I had, this is probably the most like fun I've had reading a book in a long time. It was so much fun. And I'm so glad that I had like my love for the movie drive me while reading this book. And I love the book so much as well, like to the point where they're a little bit separate entities because there are, pretty massive differences. Like there are multiple characters in the book that don't exist in the movie, and then there's characters in the movie that don't exist in the book. So it's kind of fun because they're different, but love this book. Okay, the next book is technically 3 books because I have 3 different editions of it, but it's my favorite book of all time that I was rereading for the first time in a long time. But it's The Outsiders. So I have 3 editions because I read, it's the same story, obviously, but I read the, like, special pages in the end of all of them, and like the special like details and things that they have in all of the books. So I have it's The Outsiders by S.E. Hinton. I read this book the first time in the 7th grade, absolutely fell in love with it, watched the movie, absolutely fell in love with it. It's my favorite book of all time. But I have the Platinum edition, which is the first edition that I ever owned. So I have this one. This was the one that I actually read, like, the story from, because I like a paperback, and the other 2, sometimes paperback's easier for me to handle than a hardcover, and the other 2 are in hardcover. But I did read all of, like, the special materials in this one, and then also all of the other special materials in the other books. So then I have the 50th anniversary edition that's actually signed by S.E. Hinton. I got it from Barnes & Noble. And I read all of this one has the most, like, special material pages in it, because it's the 50th anniversary edition, so it's a lot of, like, the story of how she got the book published. So I read the special materials in this book, and then I also read the special materials in this one, which is the official Broadway edition, because I'm obsessed with the Broadway musical. Also, the edges are gold, like all around, and it's beautiful and it's lovely, and it has pictures from the musical, and then it has like an interview with the director and S.E. Hinton, and I think the book writer and the lyricist. So I read the special materials in this one as well. So that was a fun little thing to read this month, especially since I could get all 3 of these off of my shelf by reading the special materials in all of them and by rereading the book. So that was a fun time for me. Also, this video is probably not going to be as long as the first one, because I'm not going super in depth on them. As much as I did on the first one, I slept really funny, and my neck is in pain, and so I'm trying to get through it as much, but I also want to get these books off my shelf and like put away, and I can't do that until I make this video. So I'm not going super in depth on them, but you kind of get the picture. I think I'm doing a decent job about talking about what I like about them and what I don't. Who knows? I don't. This is another one that I started in September and finished in October, but it's Take Me Home Tonight by Morgan Matson. This is a young adult book that I've had for a long time. And this is the one that I will talk. I'm also sitting on my floor because it's, fun. This book, when I first started it, it was a little insufferable. Listen, I was a theater kid. I am a theater kid. I have a theater degree. I went to college and got a theater degree. And I was a theater kid in high school. I wasn't to this extent. I've never been to the extent that some of these kids are in this book. Who was it? Cat. Who is the primary narrative for like the first part of the book, and then we get split POV in the second part onward. But Cat was insufferable to me for a majority of the book. Once we started getting Stevie's point of view, it redeemed, because I love Stevie. I think Stevie is hands down the better character. Thank God Cat has character development in this book. Basically, the story of this book is these two best friends. They're seniors in high school, and they decide to take a trip into New York. They're from Connecticut. They decide to take the train into the city, into Manhattan, and for the night, because it's Stevie's birthday, and her dad canceled her birthday plans on her, and she's like, well, I have this reservation that I can use, and Kat is like, we should go in the city and use it, under false pretenses, because she wants to go see the play of her like high school theater director that's in the city, because she wants to prove her loyalty to him so that she gets a good part in King Lear. First of all, I had, as a theater kid, as someone who has been a director and has been directed and has been in good theater departments my whole life, no. If your casting hinges on you proving your loyalty to the director, run. Get out. And thank God Kat realizes that her theater director is actually a terrible human being, and realizes that by the end of the book, because, oh my God, run if that is your theater director. But yes, I did end up enjoying the book by the end of it. I also was not expecting the, like, subplot with Terry and the children that she's babysitting. I don't want to give it away if you've never read this book. I think if it sounds interesting to you, you should. Just know that Kat might be insufferable for a majority of it, until she finally gets some self-reflection and learns that maybe she was in the wrong, and redeems herself, because she does redeem herself towards the end. And I did end up really enjoying this book. I am glad that I read it, but at the beginning I was literally like, I can't stand this. But it has a happy ending, and it has a very cute ending that I did enjoy. But towards the beginning, I was like, I'm a theater kid, but I'm not this insufferable. I never was. At least I didn't think I was. I didn't try to be. But it is good. It is good. I did enjoy it. There were certain parts where I was like, what? Where I was laughing, where I was enjoying it. I did enjoy it overall, but towards the beginning, in certain parts that Kat was narrating, I was like, you need to realize that you are in the wrong, and then she did, and so it redeemed itself for me. Oh, it fell. Okay, the next two are other very nostalgia reads for me. Technically rereads, but the last time I read these, the first time I read these, that they were read to me when I was in the 3rd grade. And so they're very nostalgic for me, but it's the Boxcar Children, and then The Surprise Island, which is the second book in the Boxcar Children series by Gertrude Chandler Warner. The first 3 books, I have the 3rd one and I've read it, and it's on my shelf in my other room. But I've had these on my shelf for a while, and I had others in the series that I've read that I just got rid of because I didn't want all of them. I only really wanted the first 3 because those are the ones that are nostalgic for me, because the first 3 were the ones that my 3rd grade teacher read to us as a class when I was in the 3rd grade. So I reread these again. They're very quick. They're middle grade, big font pictures, like very quick reads that are very fun and are of its time of like when they were published, which is in all before the 1980s. The first copyright date is 1942. So yes, very old books, but very fun, like nostalgic reads for me. So I got these 2 off of my shelf. Again, they're very like middle grade mystery kind of thing. These aren't super mysterious because it's the first 3 aren't that mysterious. None of them are that mysterious, first and foremost, but they are kind of a fun little quick read. Again, I was getting a lot of like the quick reads, a lot of the middle grade, not all of the YA because I still have some YA on my shelf, but some YA off of my shelf, and a lot of like the smaller books, because even though they're small, they still take up quite a bit of space. So I was happy rereading these because I haven't read them in a really long time. They were very nostalgic for me, and they were very quick. So I enjoyed them. Yeah, but very cute, very fun. And then the last book, actually the most recent book that I finished, is The Inheritance Games by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. I had such a fun time reading this book. I listened to it, and God, my neck. I need to try not move my neck. It was so much fun. I have the second one also, that I'm going to start very soon. But those are the only 2 books in the series that I have, and I will be continuing. Like, I already know that I will be continuing this series because I'm so invested in the mystery, in, like, what is happening and what's going on, and also I'm interested in the relationships and the characters. And it's like, I've never read a Jennifer Lynn Barnes book, but I've had 3 on my shelf for a very long time, and obviously I've heard so many good things about this series, and I've had the first 2 books on my shelf for a very long time and never read it. And I'm glad that I read it in October, because it is like a fun, like mysterious spooky season vibe. I don't have any books that are like inherently spooky because I don't like thrillers or horror. I like a mystery, but it has to be like a cozy mystery or like a young adult mystery because I can't do anything crazy, right? Not my vibe in a book. But this was perfect. This was really great. I had so much fun. Like, I picture, like, I think a lot of readers, I picture the book kind of playing out as a movie when I read. And I think that this would make an incredible movie. Just saying. It was so entertaining. It was so fun. I was trying to figure out the mystery along with them, and like every reveal, I was invested. I was in. Obviously, I think it did have a bit of a slow start, which is, I think, very normal for first books in series. Like, you're building a world, you're explaining the situation, you're explaining the characters, and we were learning everything right along with Avery, so I think it was fine, and it picked up very quickly right after that. So, super great, incredible book, very excited to continue on with the series. But yeah, so those are all of the books that I have read this month of October. It's November 2nd now, but very much, or is it the 3rd? It's the 3rd. I lied. It's November 3rd. Days, they run together. But I think that this was a very successful reading month. Obviously, I read 3 more books than I did in September, and I got 12 books off of my shelf, even though I only read 10 because 3 of them are the same. And I'm very happy with the turnout of books. Again, it was a lot of middle grade, a lot of YA, a lot of small books to get off of my shelf, but every book matters. So those are all of them. One last time. Here they all are. And that is my October reading wrap up. I hope you enjoyed. I'll come back in November, probably, with hopefully more books. If I can read 7 in September, that's like my goal now for every month. 10 would be great. And I only have, I think, 37 on my shelf that are still unread, which is great. I'm going to try to get through half of my shelf before I buy new books. I'm also going to be in Florida for 5 months in the new year, so I don't really want to I want to try and get rid of most of my shelf before then, so that I don't have to bring a lot of books, and so that maybe I can buy some when I'm in Florida. But I also now have renewed my library card, so I can use Libby, the online library access thing that you can access with a library card. So I will probably be doing that quite frequently. And yeah, but that's my October. I hope you all had an excellent October, an excellent spooky season. Now we're getting into Thanksgiving times and then Christmas, which is my favorite time of the year. October through December is my favorite time of the year. Fall's my favorite season, and obviously November, December gets into winter, but I'm very excited. I have books that I think give off December vibes that I will be reading in December. I know that for sure, because I was like, these have December vibes. But I have no idea what I'm going to read in November. So come back in a month and see what I ended up reading in November. But happy belated Halloween, happy early Thanksgiving, and I'll see you in November. Bye.